What is up YouTube, it's Dr. Zor helping cure you from being a noob. Today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your aim instantly in Valorant. No, it's not clickbait, and no, we're not going to give you a generic aiming routine in this video. We're going to show you actual advice where you'd see immediate results and improvement in your aim. If this video helps you out, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below on how much FPS you're currently having in Valorant. That's one aspect we're going to address, but there's much more coming your way, so make sure to pay attention. Enough hype though, let's get into the video. An area that many players tend to neglect is looking at their equipment and setup. No, you don't need to splurge thousands of dollars to buy the latest and greatest out there, but you should have some things that are decent, and you can achieve this without breaking the bank. I've heard from many viewers that don't have a lot of desk space, they're using a $10 Microsoft mouse, or their mousepad is barely large enough to cover their whole hand. Lastly, they're playing with settings that can barely give them 30 FPS. If this sounds like you, then you're at the right place. We're going to break down the equipment and settings you need to advance your Valorant aim to the next level, and we're going to give you guys the most budget friendly options out there. I know times are tough, so we want to make sure we get results with the least amount of money. First up though, if you're going to invest in anything in your equipment, you need to have a good gaming mouse. There's a big misconception that the mouse does not matter. You swipe a certain amount and the mouse will move that same amount, right? Wrong. Gaming mouse have a completely different sensor than a normal mouse, allowing them to be more precise to the movements that you actually create than a typical conventional mouse that most people will have. If you want to have your in-game movements to completely mimic what your mouse movements do, you're going to need a gaming mouse, and this is why you won't see any of the top pro players or streamers using a mouse that isn't meant for gaming. Now, a key point here is that you don't need to spend large amounts of money for your gaming mice. Sure, there are really cool and advanced mice like the G-Pro Wireless and Razer Viper Ultimate, which cost well over $100. That's all nice and dandy, and to be honest, I'll probably purchase one in the future, but guess what? Most of us are poor souls just trying to get some food on the plate. So what can we potentially afford? Realistically, something that's more in the low two-figure range, and luckily with recent mice releases, there's plenty of reasonable gaming mice that you can purchase. For example, I use the Razer Viper Mini, which is only $40. Oh, Dr. Zor, $40 is still too much? Well, guess what? There's even cheaper. Bang, Razer Deathadder, $30. These are really high quality mice at a very affordable price, and if those ranges are still too much for you, there are plenty of even cheaper options you can find by simply searching gaming mice on Google or Amazon. I can't vouch for them as I haven't tried them, but they should still do the trick and still be miles better than the typical office mice. Along with price, there are a number of factors that play a part in selecting the right gaming mouse for you. Rocket Jump Ninja has a great channel, and he does have a video that goes into detail with this, discussing your mouse grip technique along with hand size, mouse weight, and how they play a part in selecting a mice. If you want to get in depth, I'll leave his video in the description, but honestly, most people aren't going to be that picky, and things will be more left to comfort. Pick a mouse that's reputable, and you'll likely be good to go until you come across more money or want to get really specific about your mice. Personally, I really enjoyed all the mice that I've tried from Razer and Glorious PC Gaming Race, and I've left the cheapest ones that I can vouch for you guys to try out, which is the Razer Viper Mini and Razer Deathadder. Going along with your mouse, if you want to aim well in Valorant, you need to have a good sized mouse pad and free desk space. This is an area that's even more underlooked. Some players do get that you need to have a good gaming mouse to perform well, but they don't think about their mouse pad. In fact, some people don't even have a mouse pad. They're gliding through their desk, which is a much rougher surface, making it hard to move your mouse the way you want it. With a proper mouse pad, you'll be able to control your mouse movement way better and thus be able to aim better, which is what we want to see in the battlefield. Similarly to gaming mice, there are tons of mouse pads out there with these so-called crazy technologies to help you aim, but again, there's really no need to go that far with your mousepad unless you're really pushing to be the top of the top. All you really need is a mousepad that has at least a large size to give you plenty of room to glide your mouse around as needed. The most popular mousepad is the Steelseries QcK, which is one that I've used and can definitely vouch for, and next in line is the HyperX Fury, which will go for about $20. Now, if you can't afford these options, you could potentially drop down to a medium size, which will be cheaper, though you may be forced to increase your sensitivity more than you may like since you have less space, which can again off-put your aim. Another alternative option, which is what I use, is getting a less name brand mousepad that will do just the job. For example, I got a simple extended world map mousepad from Amazon. It only cost me $10 and it covers both my mouse and my keyboard. I originally used this because I played Fortnite and I needed a lot of space in order to use my builds. I haven't really tested enough mousepads besides the Steelseries QcK to really compare this mousepad to others, but it's gotten me to Diamond 3 and Immortal 1, so I'd say it's doing a pretty good job right now. Again, large size mouse pad, clear up some dead space for it to make sure you don't end up hitting anything while aiming, and you'll find yourself getting some good results. With the mouse and mouse pad out of the way, those are essentially the primary equipment that you want to get if you're on a tight budget, and they won't burn more than $50 and even less with the lower price options that are out there. From here, I'll briefly mention the specifications and settings of your PC will matter. You need to have a decent amount of FPS at all times during your gaming, otherwise your game's gonna look choppy, making it hard for you to aim well in Valorant. Trust me, if you went up against a pro player like Wardell and he was playing at 5 FPS and you have a solid 240 FPS, then you might get a kill or two here and there. But no, you don't need to go that far. Really, all you need is to be relatively well off in specs that can give you at least 60 FPS. More is always better, but 60 is what you need to at least set yourself up for some success while playing Valorant. If you're on a laptop or a really low-end PC, then this may not be possible. The most I would say is to try to close out all your programs while playing. Set Valorant to the lowest settings possible, which means going to your graphics quality and putting everything to low or off, and then dropping your resolution to the lowest you can put it on. Lastly, go into your task manager, go into details, and set Valorant priority to real time, which will cause your PC to allocate its resources more towards the game, thus giving you more FPS. I would start off with this, and if you really are motivated, then you could try some of the heavily detailed FPS boosting guides on YouTube, but if you weren't able to get at least 60 FPS previously, you're probably going to need to invest into a better graphics card or CPU, as those are the main components that will really give you a boost in FPS. But they are pretty expensive at around at least $100 to $200 to even get one of those pieces, and the prices can really shoot up. I know most people won't have this kind of money, so I would start off lowering your settings and maximizing as much juice as you can out of your PC and make the best of that. And if you really want to climb the ranks and aim better, save up for a graphics card and or CPU that is above the recommended requirements for Valorant, and if you can, get something that meets the high-end requirements if possible to really get the FPS you will need to do well and aim better in Valorant. While talking about FPS, no matter how much you have with your current specs, you may not be able to unlock the FPS to its fullest potential if you don't have the right monitor, which will affect your aim. Every monitor has a refresh rate, which is represented in hertz and is essentially how many times per second a new image is displayed on the screen. The more hertz equals the smoother the game will play, and the smoother you'll see enemy models and your mouse movements, allowing for greater aim potential. You may have noticed this a couple of years back when YouTube started allowing 60 FPS videos compared to 30 FPS. If you compare the two now, you'll notice how much smoother the 60 FPS videos look, as your eyes are seeing double the images in 1 second. Now, most monitors and your monitor probably have 60 Hz, which can play the game pretty well, but if you look at the top pros out there like Higo, Brax, Wardell, Skadoodle, Tens, etc., they all use a monitor that is at least 144 Hz, and some are even using 240 Hz monitors. The reason being is that these higher refresh rates allow the game to play much smoother than usual and less choppy, which gives you better aim potential and tracking of enemies. Let me tell you guys, I was stuck on a 60 Hz monitor for years and I did okay with it, but one day my friend told me that he had a 144 Hz monitor and that was a game changer. I didn't believe him at first, but I tried playing on his setup one day and the difference is absolutely insane, and I couldn't go back to 60 Hz gaming forever. If you're not convinced, here's a quick snippet from Wardell that goes over the comparison between 60 Hz and 144 Hz to further convince you of the difference.
In your opinion, how significant is the difference between 60 Hz and 144 Hz when it comes to FPS games?
You shouldn't play on 60 Hz if you're playing FPS. 60 Hz is such a disadvantage because everyone's playing on 240 at the higher rank. That's just the standard.
They wall off B.
You want to play 144 Hz.
As you can see, the majority of players at the highest rankings use a monitor with a refresh rate of at least 144 Hz, and according to Wardell, most of them even go up to 240 Hz. Now for most of us players, 144 is probably plenty. That's what I currently use, as a 240 Hz monitor is just out of my current budget, and the switch from 144 to 240 won't be nearly as crystal clear as going 60 to 144. Even to go up to 144 though, it will cost around $150 with a good deal, which is still pricey, but I would definitely take a look at this if you have a PC with specs that can reach up to 144 FPS. If your computer can't reach those frames, then you won't be able to get the full 144 Hz refresh potential, build, the game will still probably feel a little bit smoother than when you're at a 60Hz monitor, but with monitor prices being so high, I suggest focusing more on upgrading your computer parts if you have the money for it before going into a monitor. But again, going 60 to 104Hz makes the game run much smoother, and I notice my aim being much more effective when I change monitors. And like Wardell said, these higher refresh rates are the norm at the higher rankings and at the professional level of Valorant. If you guys are curious, I'm currently using the XL2411 from BenQ. The price has gone up since I bought it, but I actually went for the refurbished version on their website, which was cheaper and has been running perfectly fine for me the past 3 years, and is one of the cheaper options out there if you want a 144Hz monitor on a budget, so definitely check that one out. To wrap this all up, we've gone over equipment and setup, but one last aspect that I want to address and that no one ever mentions really is your posture. Yes, the way you're sitting does matter and does affect how well you're aiming. There was a professional player named JDM64 from Counter-Strike that was known as the lounger. He'd always be playing with his chair inclined, or if that wasn't a feature available, he'd slouch himself down to incline his body while playing. While his position definitely looks comfy, it doesn't put yourself in a good position to aim. Your elbows are going to be more extended and locked in, and you won't be as flexible and maneuverable with your arm, which will negatively affect your aim. Now, most people I know are wrist aimers, but I'm a huge advocate of being an arm aimer, both for health reasons and to improve your aim. That's a separate topic though. If you want more information on that, make sure to go into my aim guide video in the description. I won't go too much into the detail of what chairs you may want, but if you have a basic chair that's adjustable by height, you should be pretty good to go. You want to position your body at a 90-degree angle throughout. Elbows should be bent to that angle, knees bent, back flex, and your ankles should be firmly planted on the floor, creating that fourth 90-degree angle. If you can achieve this and also position your monitor so the top part of the screen meets your eyes, then this is the ideal position. Not only is this posture ideal for health reasons, but it also gives you greater mobility with your arm, thus allowing you to aim better in Valorant and tap those heads and maybe do a little teabagging here and there for fun. That's all I have for this video. If it helped you out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below on what kinds of equipment you're currently using to play Valorant. I'm curious to see what you guys have, and some people have definitely surprised me with their setups. So make sure to leave that comment down below. I'm Dr. Zora, helping cure you from being a noob, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Oh, just kidding.